Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto, and today guys we have a video that is an absolute must watch. It is probably the most important video that you're going to want to watch in the crypto space this month. So Chris, this is an important video. We're sort of talking about scams. We've seen quite a bit go on in the space recently. We've seen rug pulls that have happened. We can, and in fact, you, Chris, have got some horror stories, right?
Yeah, I mean, one that came through today is just horrendous, and I feel so bad for the individual, and yeah, like I don't think this is just the most important video that you should watch in the crypto space this month. I think it's probably the most important video that you're ever going to watch. In around crypto. To be quite frank with you, it's so easy to get caught out. You're not stupid if you've been caught out, and you don't have to be stupid to get caught out. They're very intelligent, individuals at what they do, and we need to cover some of this stuff because we really don't want any of you guys to get caught out. It's we all work really hard for our money. We're trying to better our positions financially, and trying to change the world at the same time. And it frightens me that people get caught out with this sort of stuff to the level that they get caught out. And I just feel terrible for some of the the individuals that have come to us looking for support and guidance as to can they get their money back and stuff like that. And there's very little that we can do. But this is something that we can do. We can sort of discuss it, and I know Charles is, from Cardano has done some stuff recently. But yeah, I think there's a lot more that individuals in crypto can do. So if you're running a project and you're watching, take note of some of the things that need to change in this space, particularly in like some of the Telegram groups, YouTube, Twitter, that sort of stuff, because this stuff's going on in some of your community chats, and to be quite honest, some things need to change.
That they really do. So if you find it useful, informative, hit the like button. We appreciate that. I like to think that the wider cheeky crypto community appreciate it too. And if you happen to be new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, do consider subscribing, and you'll be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto.
And I was going to say, Nick, before we really get into it, like in real detail, because some of this stuff's just horrifying. Do give this video a share on socials. Really just to support getting the message out there, so less people get caught out by these scummy people. It does infuriate me.
Yeah, same. All right. Let's get into it, Chris. Let's go through
Yep.
the first thing that's come up today. So this happens to be Binance Smart Chain's 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗓, a rug pull shortly after launch. So even though most people think that if it's on the Binance Smart Chain, it's an absolute solid project and nothing can possibly go wrong, unfortunately that just simply is not the truth. The truth is that even though Binance will do some various checks, they might not be asking the right questions. And in this particular case, unfortunately, a project that is on the Binance Smart Chain called 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗓 has done a rug pull. And we're going to get into this so you guys are familiar with what a rug pull is and ultimately what actually happened here. So the file storage project has all the markings of a rug pull, but will investors be able to get their funds back? That is the question, right? So turns out a turtle's arms are plenty long enough to pull a rug. So yesterday, March 19th, Binance Smart Chains, that's the BSC, file storage project 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗓 performed a rug pull exit scam. And basically, this comes down to a term of when a project's developers drain the liquidity or stored funds invested in or by the protocol, right? So they just pulled all of that liquidity and took all the money out of there, and that's what they called a rug pull, right? So coming off a March 15 pre-sale round, that raised 900 9,000 BNB tokens worth nearly $2.5 million. The team drained those funds from trading pools on Binance Smart Chain's native decentralized exchange PancakeSwap and ApeSwap, converted the liquidity to ETH, and sent the funds to Binance Exchange wallets to be sold, according to 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗓 team wallet transactions. So Jet Fuel Finance, a yield vault protocol which had partnered with 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗓 on a farming initiative, confirmed the rug pull on Twitter, saying that they were shocked by the scam. And this is the other thing, right? A project might be on Binance Smart Chain, right? Fantastic. It's got all of that kind of seal of approval almost, right? And they may have some fantastic partnerships, right? They might partner up with some really credible projects, and they kind of fool everyone. They don't just fool the investors, the initial investors or the retail investors. They also fool some of these other projects that are out there as well into thinking that they're going to be partnering up without doing any of the work or any of that kind of stuff, and they still just drain the funds. Ultimately, the goal of these guys is to increase the amount of investment flowing into a project without actually spending any of the money on building the project. So you have to be incredibly cautious over these things. And in the case of these guys, this file storage protocol or project, and they managed to pull the rug. And ultimately, this is the tweet from Jet Fuel. Attention, the 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗓 TTDX team has exit scammed. We are shocked as everyone to see this unfold. Please see tweet below from 𝗕𝗙𝗪𝗠𝗀 and help us take down the funds sent to Binance. And here you can see the transactions that are going on and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to go into all of that detail, but there are people here who specifically watch out for this kind of stuff, right? And it is shocking. It's awful to see. And you can make a project or project teams, they make it look incredibly credible. I mean, we were on some websites the other day, Chris, just looking for like mock-ups, weren't we? And we stumbled across crypto website mock-ups that can be purchased for $15, guys, and it makes it look like an absolute credible website. And it costs $15. It's a complete template system. They deploy it once, probably on something like WordPress, and bam, their way they go. They've got a website that looks like it's a solid website. None of the buttons necessarily do what they say they're going to do, but they make it look credible. And then above that, they go out, they try to get partnerships with other solid projects that maybe less known, bit smaller ones or whatever. Get listed on a few things, and once all that money flows in, they pull the rug, and that's exactly what you see here. So the 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗓 website has gone dark. All social channels have been deleted. Some investors pointed out that the project had previously been audited and no severe security issues were identified, prompting a renewed round of criticisms over the efficacy of audits, right? And ultimately, you could do an audit check on things, but if you're not asking the right questions, are you going to get those answers? So I think maybe there's a whole thing here that has to happen, to making sure that when you audit these projects, that they're you're asking the right questions to make sure you get the right answers. Because if you're not asking those correct questions, Chris, then ultimately you're going to let some of these guys get through. And again, they're going to answer them very, very well, and they're going to make things look like they're doing phenomenal work and that they're a legitimate project. But ultimately, are they just a clone of something that is actually out there as open source code? Lots of things have to be considered here, and maybe the questions do need to change a bit. Ironically, according to the screenshot, prospective investors had asked the team about the possibility of a rug pull in official channels. The team responded jokingly saying that it would be impossible as turtle arms are too short. And here you go, right? So why do turtles not rug pull? Because hands are too short. So ultimately, they're even joking around with the community. We'll get into the whole Telegram stuff in a moment, won't we, Chris? Because there are problems there as well. But chasing back the funds, right? This is the other part to this, is can you pull back your funds after such a thing, right? So despite the loss, there may be hope for some of the 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗓 investors. Shortly after Meerkat Finance rug pull, one of the largest ever DeFi scams at $31 million, a developer for the project announced that the scam was an experiment and all funds would be returned to users. This flimsy, experiment backing and abrupt about face promoted some speculation that Binance may have stepped in to mitigate the efforts of the scam. Be it Binance Smart Chain is a semi-closed system with Binance controlling on and off ramps to the ecosystem. Rug pull funds have a few ways to exit, the Binance Smart Chain without passing Binance centralized control. So there are some kind of parameters there that are good, positive things. So hopefully Binance are able to stop some of the the converted Ethereum leaving. That would be a really good sign, and obviously they can put a stop to some of that and return as needed, hopefully. So Binance CEO, better known as 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘, noted on Twitter earlier in the week that the exchange had helped in chasing funds back when other rug pull projects attempted to sell funds via Binance. And you can see that here as well. So most welcome. We actually help with a few rug pulls recently too. Can't disclose details yet, but you can see this kind of stuff. So centralized exchange here still has lots of upsides. Binance helped tracking down the freezing the hackers' accounts and so forth. So this is the first one that you need to be aware of, guys. Just because it's on Binance Smart Chain does not make it instantly credible project. Do your own research. We can't stress that enough. And ultimately, be very, very cautious. Chris, anything you want to add to this one?
No, I think, you've got to be, safety, you've got to sort of have the mindset of safety first, right? And, if the likes of Binance and various other people, I guess a reasonably high level can also be fooled into some of these scams. What hope do we have? So, if you, and this is going to sound terrible, but I don't really care, but, if you find out one of the people on the project has been involved in scams in the past, I am a true believer in, people don't tend to change, and that could probably get a few people's backs up, but it's just how I feel. I don't think people truly change unless there's like an event in life, like a major event, then maybe there's some possible change, but without that, I kind of feel like people don't tend to change. So, I'd always be looking at the team, looking at the team's history, seeing if they've been involved in any scams like rug pulls and stuff like that. And if somebody is, then, my stance is always safety first, right? It might seem on the face of it a really good project, and, it might do very well, but, do you really want to risk it? The risk levels to reward, are probably not in a favorable position, for example, Nick. So on that's kind of the only thing that I would really add. Make sure that you look at the teams of these projects, and if they've been involved in this sort of stuff previously, there's a high chance that they're going to do the same thing again.
Absolutely,
doesn't necessarily mean they're going to, but
there's a high probability of it, that's for sure. Was it a leopard doesn't change its spots, something like that? There's a saying around it for a reason. But let's move on to the second kind of thing that's cropped up today, Chris, and that comes in with Telegram. So as briefly mentioned within this article, even the community or / team of 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪😂 were taunting their fellow investors within their Telegram group, right? Saying that with 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗀$rug pull because the arms aren't long enough, right? They're taunting them, knowing exactly what they're going to do. With that being said, Chris, do you want to talk a little bit about Telegram and the lengths that some of these people go to?
Yeah, so I'm just going to read through. I've already checked with the individual; they're happy for me to discuss it. In I guess with the thought process of supporting others, not getting caught out, right? As stated, I was trying to stake my reef bag in the latest bond, but I was confused and struggling to do so. So my first point is, reef, try to make it easier and set up some proper guides, maybe on your website or somewhere, that's clearly an official route. So that's my first ask of 𝗲 as an example, right? And this could happen to any project. This isn't digs at 𝗲, so don't hate on us. It just happens that this individual is talking about 𝗲 in this scenario. This could happen with other projects, right? But my ask of 𝗲 is set something up so it's not a struggle and there's no confusion around your staking in the latest bond stuff that you're doing. I'm not into 𝗲, so I haven't looked into that. But it seems like people are confused and struggling, and that is what's led to this individual losing an awful lot of their 𝗲 tokens. And if you care as much as you say you do about the community, that's my ask of you. Sort that out. I turned to the 𝗲 Telegram community, and unfortunately fell for someone posing as one of the admins in there. So again, I don't know whether it's possible to improve that functionality to make it clear that somebody is or isn't an admin. And again, this could happen to any project, not just 𝗲. It was unbelievably stupid of me, and at the time was rushing around doing other things, right? And this is a common thing, right? I don't think that anybody's stupid to fall for these sort of scenarios. It's easily done. And we've got, I wasn't thinking, I clicked on the link provided. I connected my ledger to the MetaMask and moved my 𝗲 there. I can't explain why I plugged my recovery phrase in upon the request, and the scammer then had my details, of course, and basically took 1 million 𝗲, which I think's terrible. It was the 𝗲 global community Telegram group that this happened in. So if anybody from 𝗲 or people that I don't know are supporters of the 𝗲 project, go hound 𝗲. The individual that sent me that, my advice to them was to contact somebody from 𝗲, as well as the police and the authorities, and basically keep me informed as to how it goes. But that's just one scam, and I do think that's horrendous. You're talking about 40 grand worth of 𝗲. That is wounding to lose that amount, but it's easily done. And this isn't a dig at 𝗲. It just happens that it's 𝗲. It could have been a different project. But I think there are some things that can be done to improve this. Things like not enabling links to be posted. I think clear admin individuals is another thing that potentially could be done. I don't work for Telegram, so can't be 100% sure, but for me, I think the takeaway here is never put your phrase keys or passwords and stuff like that into a link that you've been given in a Telegram group or on social media. Easily done. We always say make sure you keep your keys a secret, but they're clever in what they do. There's a few other scams, Nick, that I'd like to talk about as well.
Okay, go for it.
So most people would be aware, if somebody asks you to send, I don't know, X amount of crypto, but you're going to get an increased amount back, that's a scam. Nobody's going to do that. So that's another scam that goes about. There's lots of people trying to sort of impersonate ourselves and other YouTubers and other influencers on other platforms, with trading platforms, text this number or ring this number, and it's normally a Telegram number. They're a scam. We're never going to give you a Telegram number to text and give you trading advice. We're not traders, and I imagine that's the same in all the other YouTube and influencers out there. And the other one is a new one which we stumbled across last week, which is they're setting up similar emails. So, for example, our email might be 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗪@gmail.com, for example. They're just putting official on the front of it and then contacting people. The first thing that I would say is we're never going to contact you.
Yeah, that's exactly it, isn't it? So if
Yeah.
you're going to
So
email us, like, because it would be you that would contact us, we wouldn't contact you. So you want to make sure that you're contacting the right people. What we've done to mitigate against this is we just said, okay, well, we just won't use Gmail anymore, right? Instead, we have our own domain, 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗚.io, and we set up official email there. So if you're trying to get hold of us, that would be info@𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗚.io. So if you're not, emailing and at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗚.io email address, then simply, it isn't us. There's no way about that. It simply is either our official domain or it is not our official domain. We're just no longer going to use Gmail because that's the easiest way to kind of just deal with this. And that's kind of a play out of Charles Hoskinson's book where he just says, let's just deplatform ourselves, remove
yeah.
ourselves from that scenario, and therefore it won't be a problem for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's terrible that these scams are out there, and we're only naming a few, right? There's many more, and they come up with new and elaborate ways. I mean, they've even gone as far as getting on like Play Store and stuff like that with incorrect
Yeah,
phishing scams. I guess incorrect wallets that basically are phishing your details, and people fall for them. It's easy to do. You're not stupid if you fall for one of these. However, we wanted to do a video that sort of covers it in a bit of detail. Some of the stuff that's going on out there. We do think that the likes of Telegram, Twitter, and the projects can do much more to make things a safer environment for everybody. But for that to happen, unfortunately, that means that lots of influencers and community members need to sort of get behind it and apply some of that pressure to some of these platforms. They really do. We've seen fantastic things from Ripple, Cardano around some of the scams and stuff that going about, with lawsuits and stuff like that. So hopefully that's going to make the environment a little bit safer. But I still think there's a long way to go.
there absolutely is a very long way to go, unfortunately. And, it's not as simple as trying to take out actual human beings. Half the time it's AI bots, right? They're just out there constantly hounding the comment sections within YouTube videos, or constantly asking you to WhatsApp people. Or, ultimately there are even footage of famous people, be that, 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗚 or Charles Hoskinson, and then there's overlays saying, send us your crypto, we'll send you more back. All of that is a scam, all of it. Um, no one in this space, if they're legitimate, should ask you to send them cryptocurrency. No one is going to send you back more than you send them. All of that is a scam completely. At the absolute most that someone should ever ask you would be for an address to send you cryptocurrency. There would be no other reason to give them any kind of phrases to unlock your wallet. You would never have to provide them with any crypto first. That's completely false. It's all scams. Ultimately, it's the same way that you would treat your bank account, right? You wouldn't give someone your debit card or your credit card that's contactless and say, here, go spend this money and then send me double the amount back that you spend. No, you wouldn't do that. Instead, you'd say, this is my bank details, transfer me the money, right?
Yeah.
It's the same
And
concept.
and I think sort of the next thing to really talk about, Nick, is some of the things that we can do to mitigate the risk. Yeah, so obviously mitigating the risk completely is you just don't click any links from people you don't know, and you only go down official routes. So that's like probably the biggest take, right? And the other thing is, maybe use a VPN, and have decent, software that blocks threats on your computers and on your phones and stuff like that. I think that's really important. And there's some great providers. We're not a none of our stuff is sponsored currently, so we're not trying to sell you stuff here. This is purely in my opinion, a really important video around safety aspects. But VPNs are really useful. Again, your software to to stop threats like malware and viruses and stuff like that, I think are really important. Is there anything else, Nick, that people can do? Obviously, we've got the hardware wallets, which give you another layer of sort of safety, I guess. But anything else?
I mean, yeah, I was going to say the hardware wallet. It's obviously making sure that you do not just keep your cryptocurrency on an exchange. That's also another vital thing. We see quite a few exchanges get hacked. Sometimes those are even insider jobs. So ultimately, it's important that you withdraw that cryptocurrency onto an external wallet, and preferably something that is completely disconnected from the internet. That way, you have full control. It's only going to be possible for someone to get access to your hardware wallet when it's physically connected to the internet, or somehow they've broken into your home and stolen that particular device. And even if they do steal it, they still need your keys and your passcodes to be even able to access it. So ultimately, a hardware wallet is almost like a vital piece of kit these days, Chris. It's something that I always recommend, like use Ledger. That's what I use. And I just think that it's a really good way to make sure that you're safe as you can be in this space, right?
Yeah, and I was going to say, and with your keys, lots of people take photos, keep that stored on their phone.
Don't do that.
Some people keep it in the note section of a phone. Again, I think it's really important. Get yourself a little like diary size book of some sort. Write down your key phrases. Being very clear, like with a header as to what wallet it's for and all that sort of jazz. Like, you're less likely to have any issues that way, because I have had messages from people where they've received they've saved pictures and their phones have been hacked, and obviously their wallets have been emptied. So make sure you get like a little book of some sort, and then lock it away somewhere really safe.
And the best place that I find to keep mine, Chris, in my little notebook, is in a fireproof safe. They're cheap enough to get these days. Lock it up in a fireproof safe, just in case something were to happen with your home, where it's it's secure against fire, flood damage, all that kind of stuff. They're as cheap as chips these days to actually get those fireproof safes. Usually the laptop size, really small. Conceal it somewhere. Throw your book in there. Keep it secure. Keep it safe from fire, flood, all that kind of stuff, and you shouldn't really have any problems from that aspect.
Super. I think that probably covers everything. But for me, this is a very important video, and yeah, feel free to share it. Make sure fewer people are at risk really of scams, because I think it's one of those that's really important to get that message out. I feel it's the most important message to be getting out in the space at the moment.
And there's one last one, Chris, that I wouldn't necessarily call it a scam, but I think it's something that you all have to be quite cautious around, and that is influencers talking about a project full stop. And what we mean by that is, even me and Chris here, we do talk about projects, but we also stress that you should do your own research. And sometimes there are influencers out there who are heavily incentivized to push a certain project on you. Now, me and Chris, we wouldn't do that. We're not sponsored. We do not have sponsored videos. We're not affiliated with any particular project whatsoever. We do our own research. We discuss that research with you guys, and we do urge you to do that research. But unfortunately, there are some people out in the space that maybe push a certain project because they are heavily invested in it and they want to rise the price of that particular project so that they can sell at a premium, and usually at your expense. So you do have to be quite cautious and make sure you do your own research. Do not just pay attention to any one specific influencer. And so there are some pretty good key examples of this. For example, I'm going to use Elon Musk, right? He tweets something about a Dogecoin, or even just a dog, right? The Doge dog. He'll just tweet about that, and that particular coin will surge in price. Now, I'm not saying that he owns that coin in larger volumes that he can drop it. I'm not saying that he is doing that, but it shows you the strength of what an influencer can do to a particular coin. And usually what happens is it will surge in price and then immediately drop once those particular individuals have kind of reached their price target and at your expense. So you do have to be extra cautious. Only listen to yourselves and your own research, right? You can use YouTubers and you use influencers to give you guides into things, but ultimately the decision is yours, and you should be making your own decisions based on your own research as well. So I have to stress that one, Chris.
Yeah, and I was going to say, you do get influencers. The ones that I rate more are the ones that say, this is a sponsored video, or I'm affiliated with and then go into it. And Nick and myself have mentioned we're not affiliated or sponsored by anyone currently. If we are going to be at any point, we would disclose that on the videos where we're talking about it, and we would still tell you and engage with you to say you need to go do your own research. That wouldn't change.
Absolutely. So I know this was a bit of a long one, guys. Hopefully you found it useful and informative. Maybe not the most positive video to put out there, but a crucial one nonetheless. Hopefully you found it useful. If you did, hit the like button, because we both really do appreciate that. If you're new and you haven't subscribed, do consider subscribing, because you'll be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And as Chris was saying earlier, try to share this message, get it out there, and try to keep people as informed as possible as to what exactly is going on in this space. It is a very important message, and I think a lot of people would appreciate it. And with that said and done, we do hope that everyone has a fantastic day, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah, keep safe, everyone.